So you know you can do. You might be able to turn off the video as well and just do the audio.
Oh wait, Hey guys, this has been a bit crazy. My name is Dr. Sharnael Wolverton-Sehon, and I'm super excited to have Frank Lazarro here with us, all the way from New Jersey. We have had a little bit of technical issues with Zoom and with the bandwidth and what have you, so we ended up having to just do this with us right now and send you the recording, as many of you probably found out by now. And hopefully just with two people. I've done several video interviews this week, and it's just been kind of hit or miss, and I didn't want it to ruin the quality because I think this is really important information. So I am going to first just say thank you, Frank, for giving us your time. Frank actually works in New Jersey with the paranormal organization that he leads up, and I'm going to have him share a little bit about that, and also what he does, what he sees. He's got some experiences. I know that he's helped me personally with some things. And but before we go, I know there's a lot of people on here who this is your brand new introduction to anything having to do with crystals, energy, biofeedback, quantum, herbs, frequency, all of that. And this may be your very first, I've got a lot of feedback when I did the class, and people were asking, is this okay for a beginner? What if I don't know anything about this? Is this okay? Is this where I would learn more about it? You are going to learn a little bit about it. I've also had some people who are asking, is this, bad? Is this witchcraft? Should I be checking into this? Isn't this, my church told me this is horrible, that kind of stuff. I get where you're coming from, because I was a minister and still am for 20 years. That's 2 decades of my life I've been in ministry. And all I'm going to say is the scriptures refer to not only essential oils 1,600 times, but crystals are all throughout the Bible. I haven't actually counted. And herbs too. This is how the Bible people use medicine. Now, they don't go and say they use this crystal for that or this herb for that, because it was so common knowledge back then that it'd be like if I said to Frank, hey, how you doing? Oh, I got a little bit of a headache, cancel clear, and I'd like go take some aspirin. Frank wouldn't say, oh my God, what's an aspirin? How do I take that? Or do I eat it, hold it? Do I stare at it? Do I just set it in my hand? People understood how to use the things that we're going to talk about today on a regular. And so they didn't have to write a whole big essay on this is what it is and this is what it does. I mean, Jesus himself actually used essential oils. Luke was a physician in the Bible who went and, carried out a bunch of stuff. And I promise you, he was not writing prescription medicine. We didn't have scripts. We didn't even have pharmakia, which is actually from the word pharmakia. Pharmaceuticals comes from pharmakia, which is witchcraft. But we didn't have pharmaceuticals till like 40s and the 50s. And that's when all this stuff changed. Way before that, we all used, our grandparents used this kind of stuff just to help us. And it doesn't technically heal us. Our bodies heal us. Our bodies are meant and designed to heal themselves. But these are all tools that we can use to help get us back into balance, because they all carry frequency in them. And our body is 67 megahertz. And as we can get back up to 67 or higher and stay in that maintenance of 67 or more, then we're not going to have any kind of issues physically. Not go into that. And there's a lot of different ways that we can help support our whole system, mind, body, and spirit, through a lot of these tools. It does not mean that you're a witch if you use these kind of, alternative, well, we say alternative, these are ancient, beautiful tools that were all given to us by God. God did not give these things to us to use for negative things. And so I don't even like saying new age. I like saying next age, because we really truly are in this new season of people waking up to a lot of different things, and understanding that there are alternative motives, not only to pharmacia, pharmakia and pharmaceuticals and systems and governments, but we can get our own ownership back and start doing some naturopathic things and some natural things. So, and what several of you had commented on, you know, I'm scared to use crystals. Oh my God, you're going to talk about crystals. You know, I don't think I should do this. And some people had a fit about it. And in the group I was in yesterday, just making a post about it. And please just understand, spoiler alert, if you are on a phone or a computer right now, you are already using a crystal. Crystals are in almost every bit of technology that we have. Tesla says that they're living things that Tesla used in almost all of his inventions. And I mean, they're used in cars, computers, watches, iPhones, almost every bit of hospital equipment, because they're recording devices, because they have an electropiezo effect, which helps hold frequency, which keeps things going. I mean, Frank can tell you lots of stuff on this. He works in hospitals. But I think that, you know, I get that there's programming, and I get that people can use anything bad. People can use computers for bad things. People can drive a car over a bunch of people, and that would be used as a bad thing. So it's just about intent. It's just about understanding and being more educated and knowledgeable on different things, because every oil has a different frequency. Every crystal has a different frequency. Therefore, it may be more helpful for a different body part or a different things spiritually for you, or for your biofield, or maybe electromagnetic things. Anyway, I just wanted to give that little bit of a foundation before we get too much in this with Frank, because Frank's going to go, like, he knows stuff way beyond anything that I'm going to teach you. But I wanted to just, you know, give you a little bit, just so you can understand and maybe connect some of the things that we're going to talk about. And also, I do have a group, it's Crystals, Oils, and the Bible group, that has 4 classes in it. That's actually how I met Frank. He joined our group, or maybe he commented or asked about it or something, and he had so much knowledge. There's 4 classes in there. There's, I think, 136 posts or something on different crystals, how they're used, what oils work best with them, how they partner together and that thing. And then he would just post these amazing, beautiful things, just historic things, and now things. And I finally was just like, hey, you know, maybe we could do an interview. So I actually interviewed him before, just in that private group. And if any of you are interested in that group, that is going to go way beyond our little hour here today, because you are going to get loads and loads and loads of information and details in that group if you're interested. And I can send you that link. I also, since then, I don't know, Frank, did I send you this? The card deck? No. I got to send you one if I haven't. This is new since the last interview I did with you, and I'm going to have to send it to you, because I bet you can use this and with your people. But it's 80 different crystal cards, and every card goes into what on the back. You can use it as a flashcard.
Oh, check that out. They're nice.
Yeah, so it goes into, and it tells, like, pink moonstone, for example, and it explains what pink moonstone does. This crystal helps to see your true self, goes into the physical and spiritual, and then it has a decree with it. It talks about how it helps with creativity, expression, shuts the door to all suppression, depression. It has companion oils. Each card will list 4 companion oils that work best together. And then it has a decree, because words actually have frequency too. So if you can combine all 3 of those things together, then we're getting a real hold there on maintaining that sound that you're looking for. And I'll talk more about this later, but I'm going to send you one of these too. And I can put the link in here for you guys, anyone who is interested in learning more about it, just with flashcards at home and teaching your kids. He's going to go into more on intent and how to use the crystals. You know what? I'm just going to let you. Why don't you tell us how you even got started in this, and give us a little bit of your background, just so we can people can hear about your adventures, your great adventures.
Hey, adventures. Okay. No, I mean, I've been investigating the paranormal for I don't know, maybe 12 years now. Myself have done over 700 investigations into the paranormal, helped multiple families with respect to issues in their homes when dealing with paranormal aspects of things. And throughout the course of this 12-year journey that I've been on, it wasn't always that we didn't use the things we're using today. When we started out, it was, we all watched television and we all thought we could do that, And then as time went on, we realized that there was more to it than just showing up with a meter in your hand and walking in and saying, "Yeah, we think there's something going on here." We actually realized that there was ways we could maybe try and help people, and the more we researched it, we realized that it incorporated those different stones or different herbs that you're mentioning, or different oils that you're mentioning, and used in different capacities than maybe from a physical point of view, but more from an environmental point of view, to try and assist the environment so that it would no longer have these entities or spiritual activity that these people were experiencing. Or, maybe there were certain physical attributes that they could benefit from it, so that would actually strengthen them to be able to counter these things they were encountering on their own. So sort of educated ourselves, and over a period of time became more of a what we refer to as a resolutions team, where we deal with working directly.
Like that.
We deal directly with clients in their environments, trying to ultimately resolve anything that we might through our studies encounter. So that entails, depending on what your belief systems are, could range from A to Z. So pretty much anything we would encounter through our investigations, we would try to come up with some source of a way of countering it. Meaning, some of them through natural explanations. Meaning you just walk in and just discover that maybe the light's flickering because of electrical issues, or maybe finding ways to utilize different stones to more or less elevate vibrations in an area, so that you could use that energy to raise our vibrations, so that we help keep this negative energy away as well. So sort of, I hope that explains it, but it's very complex. Where isn't just one simple answer. There's every situation is different and requires different views, different ways of going about fixing it. And it also depends on the individual's belief system. I can walk into a house and say, this stone is used to help remove negative energy or help reflect negative energy away. They might look at me like I have two heads and say it's just a stone. So, okay, so you really have to look at the individual and say, what's the best way to go about dealing with each person? Sometimes people respond better to prayer. Some people might respond better to utilizing what we call a psychic protection device, meaning a stone, to actually find a way to more or less reset themselves. And I'm going to explain what that means. Our brains are way our bodies are physical. We are, in a sense, a computer.
Yes.
Okay. And what we can do is we can program ourselves so that that our belief processes we can control them. Okay. We can more or less put things in the right if they're not in the right, just by using a simple reset device, in a sense. So sometimes that reset could be grounding yourself, where you're just looking at a red car driving down the street, and every time you see that red car drive down the street, you remember to reset your brain so that these things no longer affect you. Whereas other people take more of a tangible item, and you have to hold a stone in their hand to say, wait a minute, this stone here it may not be a stone that brings with it any super physical quality, but it reminds me that my brain needs to be reset, so that once I do that, I'm able to reground myself, and again, in a sense, ward off anything that might be influencing me, because it no longer has power over my brain because I've taken it away.
Right.
And other people believe that when you use these stones, they do raise a certain level of elevation of energy, which in a sense will, ultimately keep that energy out, because it's countering the energy. It's almost like the magnetic effect, where you have that opposites don't attract. If you have two positives, they're going to expel each other, or two negatives expel each other. So you have that. So you have your you can use it in multiple different ways. Now that's with the stone. We also incorporate use of sometimes people can't, that doesn't work with them, doesn't resonate with them. So it might be using a type of herb in their home. Meaning we've researched probably 75 different types of herbs that, going back in time, going back to these ancestors, like you were talking about mentioning, have used these throughout generations because they've worked. Now they'll burn a certain type of incense or a certain type of herb that wouldn't sense accomplish a certain goal for them because they were utilizing it with that intention. And that's really what it comes down to, is intention, like you had mentioned. And then there's other situations where maybe you'll have to use, sound. I mean, we can use sound to change vibrations in a room. So it's multiple different ways that we as a resolutionist team get from A to Z. But we find that, not getting too much off course with topic with what you're discussing here, that stones are a very useful tool and they're the easiest thing for people to more or less relate to. Okay, well, when they're trying to accomplish these goals. So depending on what you're looking to do, whether it be a metaphysical quality, meaning you're trying to balance your chakras, which, for anybody not familiar with what a chakra is, there's 7 energy pools, believed to be 7 energy pools in your body, more or less, from your crown to your root, okay, and everything in between. And there's 22 total, and they include your palms, your hands, there's certain ones all around the whole body. But in general, the 7 main chakras all are consistent of a color, of a type of energy that they give off, an energy that they control, and so forth. And in essence, they create what you have as an aura. And when any of these particular chakras are weak, that creates a hole in your aura, which could in turn allow for something to come through as well, from looking at it from a metaphysical point of view. So we can use stones of certain colors to help bring that particular chakra's aura color back to its natural clean form, which in turn strengthens your aura and prevents a negative intrusion. So you can use stones from that way as well. So there's a lot of different ways you can go with it. It just depends on what works for you, what your intention is set on, and so forth. So that's all. That's a long answer to your question, but that's pretty much how we roll. So I hope that answered that.
Yeah, I took some notes too, just I took some notes to kind of jump in. Oh wait, you froze up a little bit. Are you still there? Okay, good.
I'm here. You're frozen, but
when you were
lost her for a second.
About aura, however you want to look at electric, magnetic field. There's a lot of different terms for that. And then also chakra, you mentioned energy center. Chakra, the word chakra just means the wheel within a wheel. It's Sanskrit for the wheel within the wheel. And yeah, I like how you talked about the different colors, because there are different colors associated with each one that affect the biofield. And part of my teaching is, everything's an inside job. And so, meaning if you're seeing anything paranormal or negative on the outside in any kind of pattern that you may be having, is because something on the inside is at a low energy vibration. Correct. To be able to attract that or have it come in, and we only get what we are. So I like how you work on the outside and the inside, because you're kind of doing both. You're working on the programming to program, and reset the body through consciousness or decrees or just new ideas and, new understanding, but also to have something on the outside that we can connect to as an anchor to kind of go, oh yeah, the red car, or oh yeah, this is going to help me remember. And then there is actual science connected to a lot of these stones, with that they do it on their own, whether they're or not, depending on how they're programmed. Because I know that some are better for circulation, or some are better for protection, or some are better for sleep or stress or the thyroid, or what have you. So I think it's interesting. One thing too, going back to your programming comment, when people use crystals, what's cool about them is they not only are energy, but they hold energy, and or intention, and or frequency, and or sound. They're like recorders, like you've mentioned. And so when, like your example, I think one time you had talked about someone who had an addiction or something like that, and I think, I mean, help me remember the story better, but it was something along the lines of you were trying to help them to try to switch that up, and you'd give them a stone, and like they recorded, you know, their decree or their intention in it, and they carried it in their stone, like maybe to quit smoking or, you know, something like that. And they were able to, you know, hey, I am, my lungs are free, or I'm just making this up, but, you know, I breathe with ease, you know, I love my lungs, I love my body, I am divine health, or whatever. You could record that in the stone. Mm-hmm. And then that actually sets off something in the biofield, just like, you know, like I said before, everything we are is radiating out into this biofield around us, or aura, whatever you want to call it, about 5 to 8 feet. And so if we have anything negative going on upstairs, or even that we're feeling, it can cause that low frequency to go out. And if it, whatever that is, it does attract and or bring in things to collect, magnetize back in. Bio meaning dual. So electric, radiant, radiating out, and magnetic, magnetizing back in. So it's doing both. It's sending out, but it's also collecting. And like I said earlier, you only get what you are. So if we have some crazy mindset and we have a fear about something, then you're going to keep getting that as long as you're thinking about it, because you're thinking about it and you're scared about it, and everything around you knows it, and it's a subconscious thing. It's not like, you know, there's predators, you know, that may hopefully not have super bad motives, but there are. And then there's some that just do it accidentally, subconsciously, because people will only submit to your lowest illusion. And so as we can keep our vibration up, like you mentioned, and however that is, whether it's decrees, high frequency things, reprogramming, all the things, then if we change the inside and it's an inside job, then that radiates out. You know, I am love radiates out. We collect people that are loving towards us. You know, we have addictions, then that basically, what does that say about ourselves? That we hate ourselves, so that we abuse ourselves. That energy goes out, and guess what? People that you attract are people who abuse you, because you're abusing you, so why not everybody else? Like, that's how she feels about herself, so let's join the bandwagon, because that's what the energy is. So tell us a little bit about how we program a crystal.
I mean, that's there's multiple ways to do it. I mean, it depends on again what you believe in. I mean, when you're programming, anytime we give intention to a crystal, we more or less, I mean, start off, we have to cleanse the crystal. Okay, you don't want to use a crystal that has energy on it from someone else. Okay, so you always have to have a starting point. You can do that by sunlight, you can do that by moonlight, you can do it, sometimes you can rinse off, you can use it over top of smoke from incense, you know, use a bell tuning fork over top of it, whatever, in order to get that vibration, so that you're cleansing off the negative energy that is on, or any energy on it, and creating your own. So what you would do is, at that point in time, once you have that stone or that mineral or crystal, wherever you're using, and you're ready to use it for yourself, I mean, it's the way that I generally do it. I mean, and I tell people do is just set the intention. I mean, I mean, I hate to sound almost like a little bit crazy in a sense, but you actually sort of talk to the stone in a sense. You say, this is your job now. Set the intention for you, and this is what you are going to do for me. And that's generally the easiest way to go about it. I mean, and I tell that to anybody that say, you know, there's some people take, you know, they might do, I mean, I just leave it at that. I mean, I think that's probably the most basic, simple way is just take that object that you have, and it don't have to necessarily be a stone. It could be anything. I mean, I wear medals around my neck. It could be this metal right here. If it's setting in it, this is a Benedictine cross. Benedictine cross, for anybody who doesn't know, has on it, in a sense, an exorcist prayer on it. And you know, it speaks out, and it says that let the serpent more or less drink of its own poison. Like, and if you were looking at that in a, it's a lot more than that, but in the general text of it, that's sort of where it comes from. Let the dragon or serpent drink of its own poison. I use that from a perspective of being that I'm involved with the paranormal, that I don't want anything obviously following me, myself or my family or my loved ones, or that's my protection. And incorporate it with stones. I wear also black tourmaline, which is a black stone, and also which is another good point. I mean, depending on what you believe in, certain stones hold certain qualities. There's certain stones are believed to do certain things. But then there's also color, and color itself is a protective mechanism. You could wear a blue shirt and have it be a protective mechanism for you if you believe the color blue protects you. Or you can carry a blue stone in your pocket, which in a sense will do the same thing. Utilizing color, which is not a tangible item, versus a tangible stone, which you can actually hold. So you're using something that is intangible versus something that is tangible to accomplish the same goal. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So
so basically I was just going to say, so the whole pet rock thing is real. Having a pet rock.
So, yeah, I mean, in a sense, yeah, I guess you could say that. I mean, it's with the black tourmaline stone that I'm wearing. I mean, the stone itself, tourmaline is thought to ward off negative energy. It's thought to prevent your thoughts from being intercepted or more or less compromised, which in the paranormal field is a very important thing, because we're dealing with, and I hate to say this, I don't mean this with disrespect, but like almost like an enemy in a sense that knows how to get into our brains. So we have to do something that protects us from them. So I empower the stone. I program the stone with my own thoughts, saying that this stone, although it's just a stone, it's symbolic to me of warding off them from getting into here. Okay. Now you also have the black stone concept of it. So the color black is also very protective. So it's actually 2 for 1 when you're wearing a piece of black tourmaline, because you're getting the color black, which in a sense is symbolic of protecting, and you're also wearing a black stone, which does exactly what I explained before. So you could carry a piece of amethyst. Amethyst is great for your crown chakra, for your top. So that allows you to connect to the divine. If you're a believer, if you're an energy worker, allows you to also protect your crown chakra from intrusion. I think you locked up. I'm not sure if you got me still. Yeah. You there? Okay. I see your eyes blinking. You're good.
Oh, wait. Yeah.
I can tell if you're frozen or if you were just staring at the screen. But so some people use amethyst to close off their crown chakra or open their crown chakra, more or less as a gateway to their crown chakra to connect into the divine. Then you have your third eye, which is a blue. You could use a third eye would be more of the connecting your psychic senses. Okay, protecting your psychic senses. You close off your third eye or open up your third eye to allow for interaction from a psychic perspective. And all the way down through your root chakra, which is your survival instincts and so forth. So you have all these different steps in between your body, all these different pools of energy that control certain aspects of your existence. And you use color or stone in order to color, and all sorts of different mechanisms you can use to protect that. I mean, you can do all kinds of grounding exercises. Again, it just depends on what works for you. Certain types of incense are used for stone. You can have for chakra work. You have certain types of food that can help you ground certain things. So it's all about what resonates with you when you're looking to protect your metaphysical qualities or your energy from your own body. So I can go on and on and on. I'm sure I'm babbling a little bit, but it's trying to keep it as simple as possible, but get a point across that that just because stones aren't the only answer.
Right.
They're one of the many answers. Okay. I believe in stones. I use them around houses to, I give them to clients because of the exact qualities I'm saying, to help them achieve a certain accomplishment. Well, for instance, if there's a child that is scared, okay, I might give them a little teddy bear or something. And what we do is we'll actually sew a tiger's eye into it. Okay, now the tiger's eye is a stone, which is great for, it's a brown stone. I can read here. I'll read my little chart exactly what we use tiger's eye for here. But tiger's eye would be sharpens the mind, energizes the body, and balances the chakras through your solar plexus. That's from an adult perspective. Okay, the child's not going to understand that. So, but when I tell a child, when I give them that stone inside that little teddy bear, I say, I'm giving you a tiger's eye, it's a little stone inside this teddy bear, because the tiger's eye is going to watch out for the things around you and protect you from them. The eye concept, the tiger's eye. So they relate that word eye to something that's watching their environment for them and protecting them. So I'm getting into their heads.
That's good.
And programming them to believe that this little stone inside this little teddy bear that I've given them is now a protective device. And you'd be surprised how many times that works so well for a child, because at their level, they just want to be no longer scared in their environment. So if you give them something that they can grasp onto, that reminds them to be strong, reminds them to shut off that negative energy, to that might be, or I say, to put away that fear. I should just more or less give them a weapon against that fear. That's a great way to do it, because it's a visual, tangible item. Sometimes we can we'll tell parents to do the couple on the string thing. I mean, if your room's close enough, put a cup next to their bed, has a string attached to it, and you have one attached to your arm. When they pull on the string, they're scared, you tug back, and they know you're still there. It's just a mental thing. It's getting into their minds. Give them little spray bottles. They can spray their room with a little water before they go to bed. Burn some incense in the room for them. So there's different things you can do to help protect environments.
Let me interject real quick too. The going back to the kid thing with the teddy bear. I like how you're explaining it to them on a level, because again, if you're saying, well, this is going to protect you, and they actually believe that in their belief system, then that belief is taken to heart, and then the heart pumps out a different electric vibration that goes out that basically says, I'm protected, I'm secure. And so, God in me is secure and I'm secure. Well, guess what? Nothing can come in there when you already know
that is the most
that you're secure, because that program is out there. It's a high level, it's very high level vibration, and low level can't come in live level. Right. It meets it. You can only get what you are. When we've actually tested these cards, which is really weird, because I didn't think this until I think it was you that told me something about it. But I own all these crystals myself that are on here, which is 80 different crystals. And I never even thought about how the fact that these cards would be in the homes of every single person that buys them. Kind of interesting. It's my stuff, and I pray over these things, and they're like high vibe to me, and they're my little pets, and I love them, and I'm not worshiping them or anything, but we did just a little a science project where we would give someone the actual crystal and hold it, and we would test them to see if they would be strong or weak. And we had a baseline. They were stronger when they held it, without even telling them what it was for, not even giving them the program, but just holding it. And then we took the crystal away and we gave them the card that matched the crystal, and they held the crystal, and it was just as strong as if they had the real crystal. So, and I was just like, whoa, this is amazing. That, like you're talking about the metal necklace, this is just paper, with a picture, an image. It has words and a picture on it, but that has a frequency and a strength. So we started having parents put the cards in the kids' lunchbox or backpacks, or putting them, under their bed or under their pillow when they sleep, or even under their wife or their husband's pillows, or, because rocks can be, weighty if you're carrying a bunch of rocks around, depending on, especially some of these crystals are pretty big. But, I know when I was traveling, I would have my stash of things that I would take whenever I would go teach at conferences. Well, I need my rocks and I need my oils, and my suitcase was getting too full, but it was just I can take a little card, and that's just the same thing. And it was doing all the same things, the same exact energy and the same strength.
It's funny you say that. I used to carry a sachet of stones in my. I used to wear a vest when I investigated, because we had to. When anybody's never investigated paranormal, you need to have 5 arms, 10 arms, because you need to have so many different things. I started to realize that you only needed 2 arms, and you needed your brain, okay, more or less, and Before that, got to that point, I used to carry around a sachet of stones, and that it had all these different stones. It had all, every stone I could get my hands on that had a purpose. I put it in there, but over time, I realized that I don't have to carry them. The energy's here. Okay.
Yep.
I believe that they didn't lose their ability to do what they were designed to do, because I felt I carried the energy with me.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It wasn't a need to carry the bloodstone anymore. It was the bloodstone's in the sachet. I know it's in there. I bought it with intention. The intention doesn't go away. Okay, the stone was just a simple reminder of what the intention was until it became part of me. Okay, and once it became part of me, then I didn't need it anymore. Okay.
Yep.
And it doesn't disgrace or discredit the stone. The stone's still a beautiful thing. It's great for being on display. And when I need it to boost myself up a little bit, I might grab a hold of that bloodstone or whatever it is, that particular stone, just because I maybe feel a little weak in that particular area. But I don't have to have it on me all the time. So it's like you're saying with reference to the cards are just as important, because they're your trigger. That's what works for you. It could just simply be a picture of it in your brain. That does the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's about how you program yourself to and what you believe in. Stones, I don't want to say they've taken a bit of a. It's not that they've taken a back burner, because that's not the best way to say it. But I don't have as much of a reliance on the physical stone as I do the energy that comes from them. Or the training that I gave myself because I carried them for so long. So I don't know if that makes sense.
So I'm seeing how this works too with biofeedback, because I just got a new scanner that if you're familiar with biofeedback, when you're in person with someone, you can kind of scan to see what's going on with their physical body, and then you come up with a customized group of frequencies to send back to their body to make it balance out and to give it the support that it needs. And now I'm able to do that quantumly. So if I get some information from anyone who chooses to do it, they send me all their information. I put it in the computer. It gives a very accurate, like 12-page, 40 to 50-page thing of what everything from circulation to anatomy, EEGs, brain function, the whole teeth, all of it. And then it basically sends back what helps require, what can support them best for their body to heal themselves. Well, I started seeing that if like a wife, made a husband do it, or made a teenager do it, or something, that because it'll give the absorption capacity after of how much of an upgrade actually their body absorbed in the process of how well they absorbed what I sent back to them. And it even gives a before and after bio picture of what their field looks like before and after, which is kind of cool. Well, I started seeing that if they didn't come on their own, if they were like dragged or talked into it, their absorption capacity would be like maybe 15%, or someone who was open and like, hey, I don't know 100% how this works, but I'm just gonna go for it, and I trust you, so let's just do it.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what I shoot for when I go out with these ideas to a client.
So their absorption maybe 30, 40, 50, almost a couple people I saw 70% absorption rate.
People are on it just like that because they believe in it already. So it's just reinforcing it, what they already know. So it's an individual thing. I said it really and that takes us working with our clients with respect to their environment. Because I could find that when I'm getting back to the whole resolution side of things, that some people need that physical, tangible thing. They need to have that. They need to have that object in their hand. It looks like you're frozen again.
Yeah, you are too. This is so. Am I still frozen? Can you hear me? Hello? Oh. Okay, Frank, where'd you go? I think he popped off. I'm going to give him a second to get back here. This is why we didn't do all. Oh, there he is. He's coming back. It looks like he's coming back. Participants. Invite. There we go.
There we go. We're back.
Yes.
Sorry about that. I don't know. I got dropped or you got dropped. Somewhere along the line, we lost our connection. So, anyway.
I know. It's a good thing we didn't have 400 people on this call like we had people signed up. But anyway, you were saying about the ability to absorb things.
Okay. Yeah, we were talking about. I got started talking. I don't know what point I cut off, but I'll backtrack a little bit. That when we go into a house or a location, that each individual in that location, they respond differently. So what works for you won't necessarily work for everybody. So some people, it takes more of and this could be in the same house. You can have two people who live next to each other, who are, of the same blood, mother and daughter, okay, who one believes in one thing and another one believes in something completely different. And our job is to get into their heads and say, okay, well, what's going to work for you? What's going to work the best for this situation that you're dealing with? And then I'm going to turn to the other person and say, what's going to work the best situation with what you're dealing with? And when I deal with two individuals, that affects the entire environment. Because if I can turn around and I can convert or make those two individuals believe what I'm trying to tell them, that ultimately is going to produce a much more positive environment, which is going to be productive in countering whatever they're working against. So to you, it might be you need to have that stone around your neck. Whereas to your, say, daughter in this situation, okay, your daughter could be a person who needs to burn that incense, because the incense is going to resonate more with them than the stone's going to, because they don't necessarily believe in the stone as much as they believe in burning the incense is going to create that negative ion, which is going to create that positive environment. Okay, so they'll accept that. So, but the combination of the two ultimately does the same thing. Both of them are warding off the energy you don't want there, just differently. Two different ways of doing it. Some people might be best just to hand them a pamphlet of prayers and say, read these prayers every night, and that empowers them because their belief in God outweighs everything. Which my belief in God outweighs everything.
Right.
Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. I mean, God put us all here. God's in control. Okay.
Right.
God can, but in the process of working in that aspect, in that realm, we as human beings sometimes need a little more. And sometimes we need to have something that we put value behind. Thoughts aren't necessarily always the best way because sometimes you're weak in the mind and you got to bring yourself up a little. You got to strengthen yourself. So we use devices to help people strengthen. And once they no longer need that strength that has become strong in here, like for instance, grounding. I used to have to go through this entire ritual of grounding where I had to visualize these roots coming out of my feet and going into the ground and removing negative energy out of my left leg and pulling the right energy up in my right leg and sweeping my body through and overflowing my body with this white light of energy, which put me in a bubble of protection. And it could take, as long as it took. Now it's just like, bam, it's done. Because my mind is already programmed to do it. So again, every individual is different. How we get from A to Z with you is going to work parallel to how I get to A to Z with somebody who's living right next to you. Sometimes you get lucky and it's just one answer for both. So our jobs as investigators is as a resolutions team, is to find out what works best for you. To give you the tool that you need, whether it be wearing an amulet around your neck, that's a guardian saint amulet, or it could be handing you a stone, handing that child that stone inside that teddy bear, telling a member of a family to burn a certain type of incense in the room before they go to bed because that's going to push out the energy. Getting into incense. For instance, frankincense and myrrh. It's everybody knows frankincense and myrrh. I mean, and it's been around since the time of Christ. Before that, I mean, obviously it was a form of high elevated reverence to him when they brought it to him. So, he was just a baby. It obviously existed long before he came along, right? So therefore it was, so that's something that's been around since God knows how long. But then the Christian Catholic Church, the Christian churches today, I can't say with confidence other churches, but I know the Christian, or at least the Catholic Church does it. We use frankincense and myrrh over top of a casket during a funeral, because what's that doing? In a sense, you're using that to help raise the spirit to the heavens. Use the smoke to go up to the heavens, to cleanse the spirit, so they can rise up and be in the face of God. So it's that's just a type of incense. So you can do that in an environment as well, by burning frankincense and myrrh to help remove energy that's no longer wanted there, to help push it out. Use pine incense to more or less, I hate to use this word, but exercise an environment, to cleanse an environment of all negative energy or things you don't want, that you don't want there. Use copal.
It's really grounding too, very grounding.
Everything. Pine is used for everything. We use pine on a regular basis. Pine, frankincense, and myrrh. We burn copal for helping assist human spirits. So every incense has its own purpose as well. So it really is, it's again, finding what works in an environment. I might go into your house and you might not believe in incense, or you might have an allergy. You can't burn incense in your house. Maybe you have asthma, or you have something that causes you not to be able to use that. So we have to come up with something different. So I might go in and use sound, because ringing a bell raises vibrations. Spray holy water with a type of oil in it, certain oils. Just because if I use frankincense or myrrh oil in holy water, that in a sense is going to do the same thing as using frankincense and myrrh incense, because I'm using the same thought process. Frankincense and myrrh is going to help cleanse the environment of the negative energy you don't want. And you're spraying holy water, which gives it that extra, and you use salt in it as well to cleanse. So there's all the different components that go into making this work. It's not,
and I can say the same thing as a naturopathic doctor and a science geek. When I have a patient and I'm looking at whatever's going on with them, physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, whatever, I do the same thing as I look to see what can help them best. I mean, let me say two things is, I didn't personally go the route of having chemotherapy for whenever I had my situation, because I know the effects that can, the side effects from that. And I did everything clear, just natural to get my body to heal and do what it needed to do to get back. But I do have patients who, like I just had a friend whose dad is dealing with some stuff and he's doing chemo and radiation, and she called and was all concerned and worried and freaked out about it. And I was just like, you know what? If he believes in it, then that's what he needs to do, because that's what his belief system is. Will it mess up his immunity? Maybe, or maybe his brain will be able to trip past that and there won't be as much damage because your brain works in different ways with belief systems. So, but even going back to what you were saying, different tools of like water, herbs, incense, and kind of having to find that customization towards whatever the person is specifically, whether I'm doing a scan on someone and giving those sounds back or frequencies back or whatever, all the things that we use, these tools, whether it's oils, vitamins, even decrees, drinking more water, getting grounded, color therapy, light therapy. There's so many different things, colonics, infrared sauna. There's so many different things that we can use that will actually help the body. And the way I look at it, or my approach is let's say E is the perfect sound that we need to be at. I'm making this up, but you're talking about sound. And you hit a tuning fork and you bang it, and it's going to vibrate at that E. But after a while, it's going to subside. It's going to stop on its own. But if we can take other E's and place those E's around it that have the same sound, then that tuning fork is going to keep going longer. And actually, they're going to all bounce off each other, like you were talking about in the family of working with the mom and the daughter or whatever. Like anything for the upgrade is going to keep that sustaining sound. And eventually, hopefully, it'll get to be where your body just has muscle memory, and you're just like, no, that's what I am. I'm E. I don't need any of the things, like you said with this astral. Yeah, I don't need the things. I'm already there. I remember that I'm there. Those, like Dumbo with the feather, Dumbo thought he could fly because he had the feather. He forgot the feather, and here he could fly the whole time. So
right. It's the same thing. Exactly. You just hit it right on the head there. I said about the stones. You don't have to carry the stone. After a while, you no longer rely on the stone. You no longer rely on the incense because you've programmed your brain to take care of it on its own. Okay, and that's the beautiful thing about it, is that these are tools. They're tools. They're God-given gifts that are tools to us if we believe in the energy that they can put off, and if we could allow ourselves to become one with them. And that's more or less what you do. You take that stone and it becomes a part of you. Although you no longer have it in your pocket, you remember the energy because you've carried it. You have to set the intention. And these I don't rely on this stone around my neck, but it reminds me, if I get myself into a situation, that I can grab a hold of that stone and oh yeah, I gotta reset myself. And it might take you longer, but it takes me instantaneously because I programmed myself that this is what this is for. Okay, I believe in it. I've given it the energy. I've put a lot of thought into it, and so therefore it becomes part of me. And when I don't wear it, I actually feel, I can have clothes on and still feel naked because I'm not wearing something that is a part of me now. So it's and that's why we give stones to people. That's why we give incense to people. That's why we give advice to people. I mean, we're not doctors. We're certainly not selling anything. We're not trying to and I don't sit there and say that there's almost like the disclaimer has to be there, because just because we're telling you doesn't mean it's necessarily going to work. But if you believe in it, it's going to help you empower yourself so that you'll find something that will work for you. It might be what you need to get that starting point. So when people get involved with crystals, you might find crystals that work for you. You might grab one that's almost like a kryptonite for you because it just works against you. So it can go for you and it can go against you as well. Same thing with incense, or same thing with certain types of other avenues you take. What works for me might work great for you, might work better for you, or it might work to a point where you're like, oh my God, I thought the world was going to end when I used it. So it really, rutilated quartz is mine. I tried carrying a piece of rutilated quartz with me one time, and I thought I walked around for like a week saying, oh my God, what is going on? I took it off and I started feeling better. The energy coming off of that stone just didn't work well with me. It's like perfumes. Some perfumes work great on one person chemically, and as soon as you put it on another person next to them, their chemical composition of their body, it doesn't work for them. So it's the same thing. We all have what works for us. We have what doesn't work for us. It's about finding what works for you. My job as an investigator, my job as a resolution team is to present you with a whole lot of options. Say, try them. Figure out which is the best for you and use it. You're going to get to the point where it no longer works? Talk to me. We'll adjust it. We'll make it better. We'll change this. We'll tweak this. We'll continue to re-emphasize it. You'd be surprised how many times we go into a place and we tell them burn incense, and everything goes great. Everything's great. Call them back 3 months now, 3 months, and the house is perfect. No problems at all. Call, and then about 6 months later, I get a phone call from them. Oh my God, they're back. And the first question I say to them, what did you do? You stop burning your incense? Well, yeah. How long ago did you stop it? About a month ago? Yeah, about a month ago. There's your answer right there. Start burning your incense again. Get back into the trend of doing that, and you'll re-emphasize how much you're controlling your environment. And sure enough, you start doing that again. Sometimes it takes us going back and doing a little more work in the house in order to get them back on that starting point again, that clean slate. But once we do that, usually the second time, people are like right on board with it, and it works indefinitely. Because now they've realized the energy that they had, they realized what they took away, and now they realize what they needed to replace in order to get back to what they want. So it's sort of like we have to give them that balance. That's part of resolutions team. I mean, that's how we operate. My mindset is different than a normal investigator's mindset. A normal investigator who just investigates paranormal wants to make contact with the other side. They just want to have that EVP in their hand. I don't care about that EVP. EVP is not important to me. What's important to me is the fact that I get into your head so that you no longer have to deal with that EVP. meaning electronic voice phenomenon, okay, that we might capture on a voice recorder. So I like them. Don't get me wrong. I'd be crazy not to. That's the enjoyable part for me as an investigator, because I want to have those experiences. But from my resolutions point of view, it's more important to me to have you have peace of mind than for my enjoyment. And if you're expecting me to come in and give you enjoyment by handing you evidence, you've got the wrong guy, because my job's not to entertain you. My job's to fix you.
Right.
Okay, so that's the difference between what I do and what other investigative teams might do. So we utilize all these tools to accomplish that. And if you're not going to do what we ask you to do in that respect, we need to have a real serious conversation, because you're wasting time, you're wasting energy, you're wasting valuable resources, and so forth. So it really takes a partnership between us and you to work with us to find what works for you. We present you with 15 different options. You have to try all those 15 different options. So it might be a stone, it might be incense, it might be sound, it might be prayer, it might be this, that, the other thing. Could be listening to religious music in your house. Could be opening up your windows and getting fresh sunlight in. I mean, whatever it is, something has to work for you. Now, getting into stone use in a house, sometimes you can place stones around for what's called feng shui. You want that energy flow through a house. Sometimes we find that energy is clogged up. So there's a belief process out there that if you use certain stones in certain areas of a house, that you can actually create a better flow of energy, which in turn will dislodge any trapped energy and create a better environment that way. We use stones outside. These are from an environmental point of view. We use them outside on the corners of a home or in the center of a home to help ward energy around a house rather than through it, or to create a protective bubble. But again, I'm putting 4 stones around your house. You could think I'm just putting 4 stones around your house. Unless if you visualize there's actually a bubble of protection around you because those 4 stones are there, it's not going to work for you. Mm-hmm. So it's, again, an individual thing. Every single aspect of everything is visualization and intention. Really
so how, because we're running out of time here, how can people get in touch with you? I know you're on Facebook, and I can send them your link to Facebook, and I can send them your website, but just for verbal, can you go ahead and say what your website is? And
Sure. I appreciate that. It's www.njrope.com, njrope.com. And we're available there. There's phone number contact on there. There's email contacts on there. There's obviously they can contact me through you. So if they were to call you and ask you to get in touch with me, I'd be more than happy to call them, get back to them, email me, whatever. I don't necessarily, to me, it's not about coming to a house. I mean, you could be across the country in California. If you have a question, you have a concern, I'll help you. I mean, we're there for that reason. In fact, it's actually better because all the stuff that's going on in the world right now, we can't even leave our homes. So if you do have questions you want to talk about, I'll be more than happy to talk to you, because I got all the time right now. I'm not investigating anywhere. I'm doing a lot of work. I'm working right now at a believe it or not, in a collection site, testing site, COVID collection site. I'm out there. I'm in New Jersey, so as you mentioned in the beginning, and New Jersey's one of the worst hit areas with this unfortunate situation we got going on right now. So I work in a hospital, and I've actually been working at a testing site where we're doing the swabbing and so forth. So it's been a real eye opener for me to see so many sick people and so many people in need. But it's, again, right in line with what I do. That's just a side note. But so I'm a little busy with that. But if you call me, email me, whatever, I will get back to you as soon as possible. So.
Yes, and I'm going to send everybody, when I send this recording, I'm going to send everybody your website and post it. And of course, too, Frank is in our group. We have a group called Crystals, Oils, and Essential Oils. Crystals, Oils, and Energy, and the Bible. And it does discuss all of that. And like I said, he's got a class in there or an interview in there. And there's several other classes that go way more in detail than we could ever even hit the ground talking about today. There's 136 posts in there, and each of the posts, if it's not a class, it's a video, or it's a specific stone that we're focusing on with each post that explains the characteristics of it, how it helps the frequency, what it most works with health, mind, body, the comparison and compatible things as far as essential oils, But that may be something you guys are interested in. I can give you that link. As a matter of fact, we have a 30% off coupon right now that you guys can join up. It's I can put that link in here too. I think it's 30. Oh gosh, I got to remember what the code is. I can't even remember what the code is right now. I'd have to go back and look at it, but I'll send it in the link. Also send the link for my cards if you're interested in the card deck, for you guys to start using this and understanding more about what each of these are. And then I'll send this to you too. I have your address. I'll send that to you. And then my book I have, which goes into a lot about the biofield, how we get what we are, how to change the timeline if you're using different things, whether it's consciousness and decrees or any tools to change the timeline, whether it's a part of your DNA signature code or if it's just a mindset or programming. We can have a life of miracles. It's called The Science of Miracles, remembering the frequency of love. And it's about returning back to the fullness of who we are and being able to have that miracle life on a regular. And it does talk a little bit about some of these things that we shared as far as the biofield and kind of clearing it and cleansing it and using different tools to be able to change up those negative patterns. So thank you, Frank. Again, even with all this technical whatever stuff, he's got to work at like 2:30 in the morning to be at the hospital. So he still did this class for us tonight. That was really helpful. And also on a side note, he has helped me personally with some things even going on in my home, and even, told me what to buy. And and it worked. So I know he's worked with a few people in that group who were reaching out and just saying, hey, I got this thing going on. And he was very, very helpful. They do take donations for their time. And his website even has a lot of these tools on it where you can buy it and he can ship that stuff to you. But anyway, I hope that this was helpful for you guys who are just now starting and gives you a little bit understanding about the science behind crystals. And so maybe it's not as scary and freaky, but maybe you guys are, opening up and able to understand a little bit about that this is actually a legit thing, that just someone just didn't, come up with some weird idea that a stone does this or that, but there's actually, scientific proof about the effects of things and the frequency of it and how it can support our system. Again, they don't heal you. None of these things will heal you, but our body heals. And when we have these tools, it keeps that tuning fork, whether it's a scan, biofeedback, music. There's some, you know what, whenever I had my sickness in the past, whenever I was dealing with my dis-ease, I used everything. I used anything I could find because I just wanted to get back to wholeness. And, hopefully none of us will ever have to be in a situation where you hit rock bottom to have to seek out to find all the things that can support you, but you will just take ownership and responsibility now where you are to already be responsible for your health. And not get to the point where you are forced to or have to make some big changes, but you can just start adding these tools to your everyday life anyway, because we get to have them because that's our inheritance. So I hope that helps you guys. I'm at swiftfire.org is my website. You can find me all over internet, YouTube, stuff like that, Swiftfire International. And talk to you guys soon. Thanks, Frank.
No problem.
Appreciate you.
It was a pleasure. Thank you very much.
All right. Bye-bye.